Well, good afternoon, everybody. Bill O'Leary here, Legacy Planning Law Group, estate planning elder law attorney, coming to you this Thursday. Is This is the next in our series that we call our Thirsty Thursday series. And so, what this is every Thursday at about this time, I'm going to go live and talk about sort of a different topic, sort of a topic that strikes me of interest that might relate to sort of estate planning, wills and trust, and elder law, estate planning for our seniors, and so forth. Um, and so I can tell you that if you're thirsting for knowledge, you've come to the right place for sure. So today's topic is, what is Medicaid crisis planning? Medicaid crisis planning. So I'm sure that you've heard of Medicaid. I'm sure that you've heard of Medicare. I'm going to explain the difference to you first. But when you hear the word Medicaid, I've had sort of reactions from people sort of all across the board, and some people say, "Oh, Medicaid. Well, that's not something I'd really be interested in. That's just sort of a program for people that are sort of down and out or destitute or whatnot." Um, and what I do is I encourage people to say, look upon Medicaid as sort of like a multi-headed, multifaceted sort of organization or monster, if you will. There are many different programs within Medicaid. There is a program that helps with housing. There helps with sort of food purchases, what used to be known as the food stamp program. Lots of different programs. That's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about the program within Medicaid that deals with long-term care, the long-term care program. It is a program that is directed to our seniors. It accounts for over 45 cents, almost half of every Medicaid dollar is devoted to our seniors for long-term care. So that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, um, how is Medicaid different from Medicare? We've heard of Medicare. Well, Medicare basically is sort of like a health insurance program. So it's a way to pay for hospital visits, doctor's visits, prescription drugs, that sort of thing. Medicare does not pay for long-term care, but Medicaid does. So that's one way to think of the difference. Medicare does not pay for long-term care, but Medicaid does. So, long-term care, what is that? Okay. So, that is where you might need some assistance with your care. Okay, and that could range from you still living at home, maybe with family, and maybe some sort of aid needs to come in for certain hours of the day and so forth. It could be sort of the next level up. Maybe you need to move into an assisted living community. Okay, and so you'll have a little more hands-on attention. Or maybe sort of the highest level of care, if you will, skilled nursing. So think nursing home. Okay. The Medicaid I'm going to talk about is going to be focused on skilled nursing. Okay, because that's where most of the Medicaid sort of attention is focused. Most of the Medicaid dollars are sort of allocated for that highest level of care, skilled nursing. There are some Medicaid resources available for care that you're receiving in the home or in an assisted living community. That's what we call community-based Medicaid. And that simply means you're living in the community. And in the community, in the eyes of Medicaid, means not in a nursing home or a skilled nursing facility. There are some dollars allocated to community-based Medicaid, not that much, kind of hard to get. Most of the attention and the resources are focused on skilled nursing. Okay, so let's say that you or a loved one needs that highest level of care. Okay, how do you go about paying for it? Because it's quite expensive. In fact, the average statewide in Florida for private paying is a little under $10,000 a month. Obviously varies by region of the state and so forth. So around $10,000 a month. Well, that eats into the one's life savings pretty quickly. I like to call it the sort of the family treasure. Eats it away fairly quickly. So how do you go about paying for it? One is to have a solution that's an insurance-based solution called long-term care insurance. Perhaps you've heard about it. The problem is that most people don't have long-term care insurance and it's expensive. So it is not um, uh, uh, the solution that some have hoped that it would be. Okay, so long-term care insurance is one solution. Another solution is pay your own way, drain down your assets, or perhaps with some embarrassment have to call upon your kids to help pay for it. Well, a third way is Medicaid, is to utilize that government or public benefit that is there to help pay for the long-term care. Now, um, now Medicaid, it's what's called a means-tested program. So they're going to look at your sort of your financial look at two principal things: your health and your finances. In plain English, you have to be sick and broke. I'm not going to focus on sort of the sick part, the health or the disability side of the analysis. I'm going to focus on the financial side, okay? And so Medicaid then looks at two things there: income and assets. Income and assets can't have too much of either one. So what if you have too much income? Well, what is that? Well, that is a number that sort of changes every year, keeps going up, and it's state by state and so forth. In Florida, in 2021, it's been adjusted, and it's just to use a round number, it's just a little bit under $2,400 a month. So if your income from all sources, Social Security, maybe a pension, IRA distribution, whatever it might be, if it's under that, you're good. If it's over that, you don't qualify. But there's an easy fix by putting in place a certain type of trust called a qualified income trust. In fact, I'm working with somebody right now on that issue. Now, let's focus on assets. You can't have too much income, but you also can't have too many assets. Okay? And so, what is that amount? That amount is $2,000. Oh my gosh, that's not much at all. But it's $2,000 of what's called countable assets, assets that Medicaid counts. Well, that would suggest to you that there's some assets that Medicaid doesn't count. Okay, Medicaid doesn't count. Now, what if the loved one that needs to go into skilled nursing has too many assets? So let's say your loved one, let's say, has had to go to the hospital, and they're sort of at a point where everyone pretty much knows they're not coming home. They're just not able, the family's just not able to do it anymore. And so they're probably going to be going to a skilled nursing facility, maybe with sort of a pit stop in rehab, but eventually they're going to end up in a skilled nursing facility. And so once they get there, okay, well, who's paying for it? Who's paying for it? Well, remember I talked about the difference between Medicaid, which pays for long-term care, and Medicare, which does not pay for long-term care? Well, let me qualify that just a touch. Medicare will pay for sort of the initial stage of long-term care once moved to the skilled nursing facility. We'll pay for the first 20 days for sure. May pay for an additional 80, depending on some things. But best case scenario, Medicare will pay for the first 100 days, and then on day 101, Medicare is out of the picture. So, during that 100 days, the family finds itself in crisis. Crisis. Oh my gosh, you mean on day 101 we're going to have to write a personal check out of mom's assets? Boy, that's going to deplete her assets pretty quickly. They are in crisis. So, a lot of people think that the only thing that they can do is just, well, I've been told by the folks at the nursing home there's this $2,000 limit. And mom or dad has more than that. We just need to get down to the $2,000. Let's just start spending down, writing checks to the nursing home until you get down to the $2,000. Many people think that's the only thing that could be done. But if they come in and see an experienced elder law attorney, they'll find out that that's not the only option, okay? That there are things that can be done. Planning tools, planning options that can be done. That's what we call Medicaid crisis planning. And the analogy I like to sort of paint for people is, I say, look upon me as, I work down at Ace Hardware, and I work in the tool department, okay? And I've got sort of attached to my hip sort of a toolbox, if you will, or I'm carrying around a toolbox. And inside that toolbox are a lot of tools. Those are the things that I have available at my disposal to do what with? To try to save as many of mom's assets or dad assets or husband or wife's assets as possible, to try to preserve as much of the family treasure as possible in very legal ways, okay? That Medicaid lays out the legal ways and say, if you stay inside these lanes and do these things, you're good to go. And so that's what we call Medicaid crisis planning. I'm able to use my tools. And so what we do is we typically do an initial evaluation of the situation, and then come up with a set of recommendations that we then give to the client, sit back down, walk through the recommendations to make sure the client understands everything. And what those recommendations look like vary from situation to situation. You know, it may be that in order to preserve as many of the assets as possible in the most efficient, quickest way possible for that given client, I only need one tool. Maybe it's most effective to do a combination of two tools. Maybe I use three together, you know? Maybe I use four. I don't think I've ever used more than five, but the point is there is some art to this, okay? And the goal is to try to preserve as many assets as possible. You usually can't preserve all of them. I like to tell people I sort of have sort of a soft target. I say, hey, look, if I can get to the point of maybe saving half of your assets or more, well, I consider that a success, okay? And by the way, if we're working with a married couple, and one of the spouses needs long-term care and the other is still living at home and is relatively healthy, then I have more tools in the toolkit. I have more tools in the toolkit. So again, Medicaid crisis planning is a way to help a family that is in crisis. Oh my gosh, we're going to have to start using our assets and pay our way and spend down the family treasure. Crisis planning is a way to try to preserve as many of those assets as possible. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this talk about Medicaid crisis planning. Hey, if you'd like to know more, maybe how we can help, we'd love to talk to you. Go ahead and book a free 15-minute sort of discovery phone call with our team. Go to our Facebook page and hit the book now button. It'd be really, really easy. And the purpose of this call is for sort of both of us to sort of get a feel whether it would make sense to sort of work together, if it would be a good fit. And we then can also tell you if we can help you, because the last thing we want to do is to waste your time if we can't help you. But if it is Medicaid crisis planning, we can help you. Okay? Or you can just Google us, legacyplanninglawgroup.com. Hey, if you have enjoyed this video, I'd ask that you like it, and also, better yet, if you could share it with your friends. Okay? So again, hope you've enjoyed this talk. What is Medicaid crisis planning was the topic. I'm going to give another talk next Thursday at about this time, different topic, same day, same time, different topic. So if you're thirsty for knowledge, you come to the right place. So Bill O'Leary signing off for now on behalf of everybody here at Team Legacy, the four wonderful ladies that I work with. I want to wish you a great day, and I want to have you go out and make it a great day and make it a better world.